This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, y'all, welcome today. I think today is the 12th. Yeah, it's 12/12, so welcome. I'll introduce myself. I am Kim. I live in Des Moines, Iowa. I have relapsing remitting, diagnosed in 2012, I guess 9 or 12, and I'm currently on Ocrevus. To you, John, go ahead and introduce yourself and let me know if you need
Hi,
time
I'm
tonight.
John. I live in Big Rapids, Michigan. I have relapsed and remitting. Diagnosed in 2016 on Zeposia, and yeah, I've got some news I'd like to talk about.
Okay, great. Thank you, John. Frank, welcome and introduce yourself, please.
Frank Austin from Plainville, Kansas. I was diagnosed in 1997. I am on absolutely nothing, and I have nothing to say.
Okay, that's no opinions from Frank. He's saving that for when he's a councilman next month. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
right.
In a
Sure.
couple weeks.
No, next month. It's the second Tuesday in January.
So will we see you at all? Yeah, that'll be over by the time
Now,
this meeting starts.
well, the way it's going to work is the council meetings are on the first and third Tuesday, and we're on the second and fourth.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Well,
Okay,
that's
did
good.
you say you not need time tonight? Okay, thank you, Frank. Jennifer, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Jennifer Dickman. I have secondary progressive MS diagnosed in 97. I'm on Rituxan, and sure, I might need some time.
Okay, thank you. Carmen from Canada. Welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
Hey everybody, it's Carmen and from Canada. I have primary progressive MS and I was diagnosed in 20, I thought it was 13, but maybe, no, 2013. I always get mixed up about this stupid number. I'm on Ocrevus. I am due for my next injection, but I'm considering, anyway, I need some time, I guess. I'm considering putting it off a little bit for a potential study. Anyway, yeah.
Thank you, Carmen.
Cool.
Bye,
Sherry,
everybody.
welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Sherry from Northern Michigan, diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS in 2008. I'm not on any medication.
Did you need any time tonight, Sherry?
Maybe a little bit.
Thank you. And we have a new person tonight, Yamile. Please welcome and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Yamile. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure what MS I have because the neurologist I was diagnosed with didn't really give me clear communication about my diagnosis. But I was diagnosed 2021. Um, is that it? I don't know if I missed
Are you
something.
currently on any medications for your MS?
Um, I was on Ocrevus, but my
Uh-huh.
medical insurance let my medication slip, so I'm in limbo for what I can be taking for my MS.
Oh my
So,
goodness, that is
yeah,
so frustrating.
Mm.
yeah.
And where are you from? Where do you live in?
I live in California.
Okay, excellent. Welcome, welcome. Okay, did you want to tell everyone about your story, or did you have any questions you wanted to ask the group since you're new tonight?
Um, maybe I don't know.
Okay.
um, like right now or like in a little
Yeah,
bit.
right now, if you had anything off the
No,
top of your
no,
head,
no.
if anything
Oh,
was burning desire, like, oh, I have a bunch of people here, let me ask them, or I had this question.
Um, I guess no, not right now. Thank you though.
If you do, speak up, and then we do also have a chat box. If you want to type anything in, please feel free to use that avenue as well.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, let's start with Carmen. What's going on, girl?
oh my God. Really? You're starting with me? I feel like my
Yeah,
head is going to explode with all the different things that are going on. It's just
let's do
crazy.
it. Let's do it.
Oh, okay. My head literally is about to explode because my husband just came home with a power chair for me. Like,
Oh.
seriously, total surprise. I mean, we went and tried it a couple weeks ago because we're talking about how to modify a Sprinter. And I had my physiotherapist here today. And so he comes and sits down and hands me this paper and says, "Merry Christmas. I brought the chair home." And
Oh.
You,
now it's now what's going through my head is that I'm just like blown away, sad that I'm so excited for a frickin' electric chair, but sadly am actually happy for it and like total mixed emotions. So that's why my head is about to explode. Like
Hmm.
literally this happened 2 hours ago, or maybe three, I guess now.
Well, you're making
um,
sense right now, so I think you're doing better than you think.
it's weird to say congratulations. You know what I mean? It feels weird, but congratulations, Carmen. That's awesome.
Uh-huh. I was thinking about you, John, and how you have just gone through this adjustment, right? And so
Yeah,
uh, just that messed up of like having to accept the reality of some things, but fighting it and then just being happy for it. Like it's just such a messed up feeling.
yeah. Like, fuck yeah, I go 4 miles an hour now. When's the last time I went 4 miles an hour?
Exactly.
Enjoy it. Use it. Take
Yeah.
advantage.
Hmm. Hmm.
Put a flag coming out the top of it. Put
Oh
stickers
Jesus.
on it.
I've got that all on my scooter. I don't need that on my chair. I just need a chair to zoom around and be able to carry my nephew. Like I was taking care of my nephew. He's 4 months old, and it was getting really hard because how do you do that with one hand on a manual chair? Like
Right.
it's really difficult. Jennifer, you were about to say something. I'm sorry, we were yabbering.
No, no.
I,
Just
I tell you this, Carmen. I track wheelchair accidents online all the time. I get a notification anytime there is one in the news media, anywhere. And today I got one I've never seen before. A wheelchair, and that was a fatal accident, but it was a wheelchair accident where the person in the wheelchair actually had a ride on the back. And they were
Had a
both
what?
actually had a rider on the back of the wheelchair, and they
Oh,
come over, and it was like, that doesn't happen. Come on. But it really did. Of course, it was a
wow.
Canadian. It was in Canada, so
Oh, of
we understand
course.
here.
Oh no.
Carmen,
Anyway,
take it out
yeah.
right now and do some donuts in the yard. Just whip them around as well. And, like just have fun with it and try to remember that it's like a really good tool to help you.
Mhm.
But even though
Mhm.
it sucks, you
Mhm.
know, what color is yours?
It's black, and it's a very basic thing, and it's going to be just for inside upstairs here actually, because like I've got
Yeah.
stairlifts. It's going to be a challenge to even get into the house. It's so heavy. Like my
Hmm.
husband is trying to figure out how he's going to get it up here, but
Got it.
it'll just be up here for now, and then I will have my manual chair downstairs and in the car and stuff to go, and that'll make it easier too because I've been using my rollator, but my arm is so sore and my shoulder is so sore, and I'm
Yeah.
scared I'm gonna fall over, and so is he, and like it's just like this progression stuff that is just my reality right now. So it's like a lot of big adjustments happening all at once. That's why I'm like, if that makes sense.
Oh no, I mean that's like 3 months ago I got my new car and it was an adjustment for me. I mean, I love to be able to see the eagle eye view and pull into a thing and not having to worry about am I gonna hit something and having all the thing. But yeah, it was definitely an adjustment and
Hmm.
but man, do I love it. It really helps me out and I'm so
Hmm.
grateful for it, but it's definitely adjustment. And then when you don't have it, you're like, "Oh, I miss it." Like my husband's house, my husband's car. I had to like put the key in the ignition. What is this old school yes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I had to lock it with the key fob versus it locking by itself. I'm just like, what
Mm-hmm.
is this? So
Mm-hmm.
weird. So
Yeah.
weird.
But
But
John, I did when I tried it out, like whenever it was, like I think it was about 2 weeks ago, or was it just last week? I don't know. Um, I was I was burning around, and I couldn't believe how fast it goes. Like it went like snot. Like I might even have to get her to turn it down inside. Like it's crazy, but I guess I'll just get used to it. Uh, she said I was
I
actually really good. Like she said, have you driven one? Like have you never? I said I've never sat in a power chair before. No. So
my comes with a seat belt.
yeah, they have to because if you go in a
Right.
vehicle, yeah.
The hardest thing for me to really get adjusted to is like slowing down rather than just stopping, because when you stop
Mm,
you do
yep.
that. So just really be careful with that.
Mm-hmm. I
Carmen,
think it's
does
because I have the
yours
scooter with the gas and the like forward and backward, like an electric scooter. So I already
Yeah.
have that kind of awareness not to just like let your thumb fly off, or when your thumb flies off because you lose like your hand grip, you're in
Okay.
trouble. Like it's going to come to a, but good advice. Yes. Sorry,
does
Kim,
it
what were you saying?
does it raise up at all, Carmen?
No, no, it's just very basic. In fact, it doesn't have any big features. It like you manually can recline the back, and I don't know. I don't even remember. I mean, I sat in it and drove it and just had fun spinning around, and then she made me drive up in the van and turn around, which was totally trippy because I've never done that before. Like this is like all it was very trippy. Anyway, I'll
I'm
get
very
to know. I'll get to know it soon. Luckily, there's
yeah.
no snow, so I could go actually try it outside or tomorrow. I might get
Well,
on
we're
that.
looking forward to the report of having your power chair for 2 weeks.
Merry Christmas to me.
Hey Carmen, do you think you'll be able to take your chair when it's outside still tomorrow before we get it in? Do you go check your mail?
Yeah, my mail's at the
It,
front of the house, so I'd have to drive around my house, but I could do that.
it always, like, for me, the mailbox is at the end of the driveway,
Uh-huh.
and it's like a one car driveway. It's not gigantic,
But
but it
still,
just felt nice. Like,
I
I'm gonna go
know.
check the mail all by
Yep.
myself.
Yep. Yep. It is a big deal just to be able to do that. Like,
And as a person who's like, are we freaking you out, Yamila?
oh,
No,
Okay, okay. I
yeah.
just
Thanks for
here.
that
checking on.
I mean, we all know each other really well, and it's you're new to the group, and
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
raise
I
your
know
hand, the people, since Yamila doesn't know us, can you raise your hand if you use a wheelchair so she knows who in the group all uses a wheelchair? Yeah, so half of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
that 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 reality, Yamila. If I'm saying, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I know that can seem a little frustrating or a little frightening, but my husband Dan is in the other room, and he has been diagnosed over 20 years and he's still working and walking. So that's just a representation. I don't know how much you know about the disease, being fairly newly diagnosed, that not everyone presents the same way and we don't all have the same trajectory. So
Yes. Thank
I
you.
hope that, I hope that doesn't, I hope that's not rude, but I know when I was first diagnosed many moons ago, that's what I was most afraid of. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
well said, Jen. Yeah, well
thank
said,
you.
Jennifer. Yes.
Oh,
It's really,
and it
it's, yeah, from the
it,
heart.
it wasn't MS. Like, I wasn't due to be in a wheelchair yet. Like, I was doing fine, just fine, walking and stuff. And then COVID just
Yeah,
knocked me so far down that I've never really gotten back up since then.
yeah.
But
Yep.
you know, um, so
Effing
yeah, don't
COVID.
just think like, oh my gosh, I was diagnosed 2 years ago. I have a time limit
Yeah.
before it, like extenuating
Hmm.
circumstances here.
And
Big time.
again, we all know each other, and
Yeah.
so we just would I want to be conscious of that.
Okay, maybe I was a little too honest
No,
about.
no, no, by all means, Carmen. It's just, it's
I
just
know, I know,
I
I
and
know.
forgive me for saying that. It's just when I was diagnosed, I got a book about multiple sclerosis and I highlighted every single statistic about walking because I was so afraid. And so, you said you were diagnosed in 21.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you've been doing, and it's just always that. I just
And a lot
mind
of us
that.
never had medications in the beginning either. Like it's a
Yeah,
totally different scene. Like it's a
Yeah.
totally different scene. Thankfully, at least there's that,
Yeah.
yeah.
right?
Okay.
Sorry, among other things. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jennifer, but
No,
I,
no, no, Carmen,
yeah,
no. And that's just, and you get it. It's
yeah,
like you
yeah.
remember those.
I was working full time until 2 years ago. I mean, I was doing well too until fucking COVID. Sorry, excuse my
Yeah.
language, but I'm not even going to hold it back. And then I had a knee replacement. I mean, I've never come back from that either. And I rallied for a bit, but it just was too much, you know? And it's primary progressive. So
Right.
here we are,
When
progressing.
I was first diagnosed, I was given a book as well. It was actually written by Jennifer and her husband. Um, so
That's
that
cool.
really helped put a lot of perspective from two people that know the disease inside and out and that advocate. And it's written oh so lovely. And now
Right.
I'm
Hmm,
lucky that
Thank
I
you.
get to know her. You know,
Thank you. And Versa
that's pretty
Visa.
cool.
yeah, yeah. Um, just to help realize some things that are gonna happen or not gonna happen. Like just 'cause I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean I'm not going to see Bruce Springsteen. You know, something that
In
Jennifer
fact,
seems to see every time he's in Michigan. But like I'll still be able to do stuff like that even though I'm in a chair. It'll
Mhm.
probably just be even easier
Yeah.
than my manual chair.
Okay, so sorry. Didn't mean to bogart the whole
no,
conversation.
no, no, that's what this group is about. I mean, if we can't talk about that stuff to help a new person, and
Yeah.
absolutely, that's priority. I don't have to keep going on about my crazy head exploding, even though there's probably three other topics I could get into if you guys wanted me to, but I won't.
I was going to ask about your head exploding. Um, how accessibility wise is your house?
It's not great. That's why I have to like just purge and clean up, and we have to sell, and we need to close his business and sell, you know, a double garage worth of equipment. Like we've got that's my head exploding. We've got so many things to do. It's a bi-level. I've got stairs, so it's, you know, set a stair lift, and then I have to stand up, turn to the other stair lift, go down, and then I use a rollator to get to the door, and then I use a rollator to get out to the truck, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
What's your time frame you're working in, Carmen?
Well, we're hoping like by spring we'll be ready to list, and hopefully the market is decent, and a lot of
And
ifs.
if you don't mind educating me, here in the States, we have the Americans with Disabilities Act. Do you have something like that in Canada?
Yeah, and I don't know what the name is. I should know better, but it's a great question. I can't think off the top of my head. Um, there are a lot of resources and a lot of support. That being said, I'm just grateful I'm on long-term disability from my work as a registered nurse, so I had good benefits. I have good benefits, thankfully. Uh, I don't know what I'd do without my benefits and the minimal government payment that comes. It's no wonder that we have homeless people in this country. Just, you know, it's quite sad. That being said, the public health is really good, and I actually have an OT coming tomorrow to do a safety assessment, and that's from Interior Health, like that's a health thing. So there's lots of things, except access isn't great everywhere. Like that's one thing. I know that, like ramps and accessibility aren't always easy and readily available, although there's usually something. So um, yeah, it's pretty good though. Like it's decent.
The equivalent for the ADA in Canada is the Accessible Canada Act.
Yes, thank you.
When was that passed, Frank? Do you know?
Um, it doesn't say.
Anyway, that's the summary of Canada. That's a lot of yapping about Canada. And now Karen's just joining. She's going to be so curious, but she's going to have to watch the recording, I think, to get all that.
That was there was a webinar I attended last week. BJ Miller, he's the palliative care guy. He did a webinar with AnCan a couple years ago. He's a guy that he has a TED Talk, and he lost part of his arm and leg to an accident when he was really young. So he's a medical doctor now. And one of the gripes I had, like I was on chat, one of my biggest things I talked about, I didn't actually talk verbally, was one of my complaints is that when they build, like, so I've known people, and we're talking like with Carmen, where people have to leave their homes because they're not accessible, and I can't remember the amounts my friend here in Des Moines said, but I think they would have had to spend like at least 50,000 to change up their home to make it so, because he became a full-time wheelchair user, and they're like, F it, we're just gonna build. And that my biggest gripe was, why don't we just automatically build houses
Hmm.
for accessibility? And my friend, who's from Canada, she lives near Edmonton, she was complaining when she got back from the US on a trip that she had to walk this mount, I guess Calgary has a new airport at this long distance. And she's
Oh,
like,
it's
people
long.
can't. I'm like, yeah. She was like talking about like there was like no moving and it just
Walkways
frustrates
or
me that we're in 2023. The ADA in the US passed in 1990s, so it's like what, 33 years if I'm doing the math correctly. And yet we don't do the basic, like we like think of accessibility as an afterthought. Like, oh, let's just do it when it comes, like, versus like, let's make all the doorways wide. Let's make
hmm
it so when someone uses the bathroom, they can move around and get, comfortably on and off. And just like, and we're not just talking mobility accessibility, people with visual
hmm
issues, and here, and just make the whole thing accessible, so it's not like it's just already like a done built-in deal, you know what I'm
exactly. So it's
saying?
not an exception.
Yeah, and that's not like, where Karen complains about going to the pool and you can't get into the pool because the thing to get you into the pool is broken. And that was a huge headache in the US getting those passed, because people are like, we can't afford to put that in our little pool at the motel. And so I just wish that they would just make that all just like
Automatic.
automatic, just so
Part of
it,
the
because
code or
it's
whatever.
a huge issue to get like ramps to get into people, like when my grandma was in assisted living and using a wheelchair to get her into my parents' house, to have like, you have to get a ramp, like it's like a big deal just to get people inside other people's homes. And that just drives me insane. I feel like there is an easier solution to this. And like, even like, if you could just like rent, if you could, I don't know if this exists, this is just me, if you could just rent, like if you're visiting someone, you can just rent a ramp. Just rent a
You
temporary
can.
ramp. The ones that like,
You
can you?
can.
I don't know, Karen.
Yeah,
But
yeah. You
just
can.
make it
But, maybe not in
easy.
Iowa, but you can. And you know what? Did anybody ever see there's a place, I think it's in Boston, that they built for people with MS, like a housing where everything's
Hmm.
accessible and the cabinets, or I don't even think it was just for disability. I think it was for people with MS. Like, I want to go there.
But it would just be really cool if people, you don't have to, obviously there's certain, problems, like something that's accessible for someone like using a wheelchair is going to be a little different, for my husband who's like 6'5". That'll be really, but there's ways to deal, and we have so many creative minds and solutions. It should be really easy to fix it. And just no one, you know what I
Agreed.
mean? It's just a frustration of mine. It's just so, like, my house was built in 1938. Okay, I understand it's not accessible. Like, if I have mobility problems, I have to move. There is no way to make my house accessible. If I have to use the bathroom, I could not shut the door. It's just
But the
that's.
walls can be busted out. I mean, there's things that people can
But
do.
I don't have. It's a small house. There's not enough. Like if you bust out the walls, like there's just not a lot left. And like there's just not way. Like if you bust out the wall in my kitchen, there will be no room for a refrigerator. Just it's a small house. I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, you just can't. You can't. There's just if I go into my bedroom, there's no way you could put a walker or a wheelchair next to my bed, and my husband could get like. There's no way. And so I would have, but that just frustrates me that has like, Carmen is talking about having, to get, to start using,
Hmm.
I can't even think, motorized, I can't even
A
think, I'm
power
sorry.
chair.
Thank you. Power
Yep.
chair is the
Yep.
word.
Hmm.
And then people having this, I have to leave my home because it's no longer accessible for me.
But
And
I
I just
have
wish
to
they would
too,
say
even
like,
though we've
okay,
made adaptations, Kim. Like we've already done, I mean, we did a major renovation in the bathroom and already that barely works for me. Like,
mhm.
shit. I've got a stool now in the bathroom, which is good, but now I have to like slide in where the bench is. Oh man, it's just, see, my head, it will explode if I keep talking about all this stuff. It's silly right now.
And I
Sorry.
just wish that we had like an easy way to remedy and just like, look,
Agreed.
starting in this number, all houses standards, we're gonna have it this way. And I don't think it'd be that terrible.
I guess the toilets are now. I didn't understand when I needed a toilet. I was looking for an ADA toilet, and John said, "Oh, they have them." Well, I didn't know it's standard. Like that's because I
Mm.
was thinking I had to find an ADA toilet. So at least that one was. But I wish I understood, John, that you could just go to Lowe's, you can go anywhere. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. All these toilets are like 17 inches high, or whatever that number was. And it's like, oh,
Right.
it's already ADA height.
Yep.
And that's, you guys call it ADA, like it's a handicap
What do you?
stall or
Oh,
a
Americans
handicap
with
pass
disability.
or,
It's the American
Yeah.
Disability
Americans with
Act,
disability.
so it's
So
ADA compliant.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
are you an
Not
American?
No,
Can,
Canadian Accessible Act, so it would be CAA
oh,
for us, I guess.
oh,
Is that right, Frank?
yeah, yeah.
Canadian
AC,
Accessibility?
the
What?
ACA rather than the ADA.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Carmen. I'm
Mm-hmm.
with you. We are
Awesome.
currently negotiating with insurance to make our house accessible.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the quote and I started weeping because it's going to cost $130,000.
Mm-hmm.
But insurance is going to take care of so much of that. But God, guys, my house could be
How
totally accessible for like power chairs. There's not going to be any like major doorways that are 90 degrees anymore. They'll be like curved, and my bathroom will be rolling, and I'll have a Hoyer lift from my bed into the shower, and that's going to be
So
great.
you're
But
gonna
I've
get
been
all
up
this
and
done?
around more. Yeah, we're getting the whole house done, and
I want to
Wow.
see John's cribs tour when it's done. I want to
oh
see this
yes,
video tour
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube, like welcome to my crib, welcome to my accessible crib. I want to see this.
perfect.
I
Um,
love it.
the
What
master
insurance
bathroom
is
will.
paying for it then, John? Like what your health insurance or
Yes, my health insurance.
wow.
how are they
Yeah,
going to pay for it?
with 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 money. I don't
No,
understand
but
your
I mean,
question
like,
here.
how is? I never heard of how home, health insurance paying for home modifications. I mean,
I
that
know.
might pay for the lift and all that other stuff. So,
You know what? My wife's insurance is really really good. Like really really good. We pay a lot for the insurance, and we just asked my advocate and said, hey, can we even talk about this? And she said, yeah, let's talk about it. And then we went through all this and all that. We just got the quotes, but there's still 6 months to go of other stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, I've been doing really well with movement, and I might not need the power chair if I keep going.
Good.
Because Yamil, just because I'm in a wheelchair now, I go to PT. Um, I walked 10 steps yesterday, my first PT back since I was in the hospital, And my PT was like, "Wait, you didn't lose a single like step that
Good.
you made. Like we're not starting over from zero." So that was something cool. It's also yeah, it's not all down here. You can not all downhill. You can totally try to wrest things back.
That's good.
Yeah.
So once John's house is done, the party's at John's house.
Mm-hmm.
And if you party at John's house, you can probably get Marlo, Sherry, and me to drive there because it's
All those
Michigan.
Michigans.
Hey.
Well, that could be.
I already have ramps.
See there, Carmen.
Yep, no
We'll make it
problem.
happen.
One of
Yamila,
the things
I'm sorry, California is a little bit of a hike. Karen, maybe you two can share a
figure
Fly
ride.
something
together.
out.
I'm about to have my own party because the topic today was just up my alley, completely up my alley. I'm sorry I missed the beginning of Carmen, but
Oh, can
Yeah,
you
you
go
better
ahead
watch
and
you
that
introduce
recording.
yourself, Karen, since we have a
what?
new person? Can you go ahead and introduce yourself, Karen, because Yamilia's never
Yeah,
been
I'm
here
Karen
before?
in Oakland. I have a hard time getting in, so I'm on one of my tablets and I might open up my computer because I had a hard time getting in here.
Okay,
And
finish
I'm in
introducing yourself.
Oakland, California. I was diagnosed with primary progressive in 2019, so it's coming up on 5 years. And yes, I do have things to share, and I'm glad, Carmen, you could stop your thing because I'll just pick up where you left off because that's where I'm at.
Hmm.
Well, John, did you share what you wanted to share yet?
I can. I'd like to.
Okay, before we go
Um,
to you,
yeah.
does anyone else have anything else they wanted to say on this topic before we move everything to what John wanted to talk
Which
about?
topic are we even on right now,
What
anyway?
topic is it? Yeah.
Accessibility,
And
power
Yeah.
we were kind
chairs.
of talking to our new person about like it's not all bad.
Right,
There's
yeah.
things going on. So yeah, yeah.
It is all bad, but we got each other.
Jesus.
Um,
You got to keep a
Karen,
good
there's two of
attitude.
you now.
Yeah,
yeah, you got
Karen,
to
you're
keep.
double.
Yeah.
There you are. Hi.
I'm in again. Okay, I'm in again. Okay.
Okay,
Oh, that's
go
Awesome.
ahead,
better.
John.
Oh, yeah. So
Well, now I'm not
guess
in the
what I
room.
did? I got denied disability.
What?
Yes.
That's
First
not
time.
new.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Are
how
you
many
being
times have you been
sarcastic,
denied
I
now?
assume?
That's two down. Two
Now
down.
you go before the judge?
We hope so. We already have a lawyer working on it with us. We shared all the information with her, and she said, "Yeah, we're gonna run it through again." And I don't see a problem with when we get in front of a judge. They'll see like, okay, yeah, this guy can't do this, can't do that. And but another reason was because not all my doctors sent stuff in, so I got to work on that, and that's not a problem. My lawyer will take care of that. That's just a really weird thing to say. Like my lawyer will you will hear from my lawyer. I
They
don't
are
know.
worth the max they can take out from back pay is 6 grand. They are worth
Yeah.
every penny.
So what
And
does
you
this
know
mean if you
how
get this, John? Like, what is this for your insurance or is it like,
Social
Income.
this
Security.
go
okay,
ahead, Kim, you know more about it.
So Social Security in the US, you usually don't get it until like you're 65 unless you're
okay, yeah.
deemed disabled.
Uh-huh.
And to be disabled, you have to like work like at least 10 years and pay in for so long. So
Okay.
you get Social Security, but it's at a smaller amount, but you can
Yeah.
get it at a much younger age. So that's what it
But
is. And then once
is
you
it
turn
commonly denied?
65,
Oh, yeah.
hmm, go ahead.
Sorry. Is it commonly denied? Like, is that a common thing that people go
What
through?
my
Um,
neurologist told me is they used to be really good with MS, and then I don't know how many years ago they flipped it and made it super hard. It seems like they're a little bit better if you have mobility issues, was the vibe I was getting, but they're just really because we're young And
Yeah.
then like with John, like so my disability lawyer said you have a couple of things going against you, a couple big X's. One, you are young. Number two is you're highly educated. So that's like two big X's for you. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to go.
And that's
It
John
was
too.
yeah, it was yep, same thing with John. That's what I'm saying. He got a couple. You know, he's
Mm-hmm.
young and he's highly educated.
Yeah.
And
So that's like our Canadian pension plan disability, which is what I had to apply for too after I got onto my long-term disability. So then they take that
Yes.
payment away from my long-term disability. Like the government actually pays my insurance company and then I
Oh,
get the
okay.
rest or whatever. Or they pay me and like the government pays me, but then the insurance company only gives me a smaller amount, but same
Yeah.
thing.
I understand.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
shitty
Yeah.
that you got denied though overall. Sorry,
Yeah.
John.
I mean, I cried a lot.
my lawyer
Cried
told
myself
me right
into a
up
headache.
front, he's like, you're
Yeah.
going to get denied until you see the judge. Just hang, he's like, hang in
Yeah.
there. It's going to
Yeah.
suck. It's going to be drawn out, but just hang in there with me. He was very upfront, like,
Right.
you will get
Right.
Was
denied.
it
I know you'll get
3?
denied.
I heard it was 3 times.
It was twice.
2
So I
denials, and I
applied, I
heard the
got
third
denied
time.
twice. I said, screw it. And then I had someone like give me tough love, and she's like, you need to apply again. So I got my lawyer, and I got denied. Then I start over again. I got denied twice again, and then I had my hearing with the judge, and then I got approved. But he changed some things, so I didn't get as much backdated,
Okay.
which was fine. That was fine. That was not my goal, was to get backdated. My goal was to just
Right.
get on it.
So
So
yeah. So last week I was denied, but we had a plan already in place. And if you are, if you're granted, approved for disability, like you have to spend down your savings down to like $2,000.
that's
No,
Medicaid.
Medicaid.
That's not
Okay,
Social Security. That's something completely different.
but I might have to be on Medicaid at the same time. There's all sorts of weird things that are going on.
You won't have
I
to be on
don't.
Medicaid because you're
Um,
married and you get insurance
Yeah,
from your
you
wife.
have your insurance through your wife.
I just know what I know.
Okay. I just know
That's
that
all.
there's people that get divorced and so they don't bankrupt their spouse. I've heard stories like that.
So regardless of the insurance or whatever, we've been working with the lawyer to secure like savings and like an annuity and all those kind of things. And then we had to adjust something because we're in a trust for her parents and my parents. So I feel really grown up by saying I have two different lawyers.
No kidding.
I can send two different lawyers at you to do two completely different things, I guess. But it's just, it sucks, you know?
But yeah, and John, though, there is another thing now. Like, there's something like called a special needs trust, because sometimes, like, someone was telling me to put my money in a special needs trust, but I don't need to do that. But there is a special needs trust, and of course, the laws are different in California and Michigan. But then, yeah, you're not going to have to go on Medicaid because you have access to insurance. But even if you do, some of that money could go in a special needs trust. But they changed it here that for SSD, like Social Security Disability, to
Yeah.
get on it, like Medicaid, it's not just Medicaid, but Social Security income, and maybe your income is low because you're young and you didn't earn enough money. But I think they changed it now that you could have $130,000 in assets because 2000 was forever. Like you couldn't have more than $2,000. It's like that was like 30
Right.
years ago.
That's why we thought we were going to have to like pay down that. But we've got that all set. So that's just good news. But
That's a lot
yeah,
of
I got
adulting
denied.
though, John.
What's that?
It's a lot of adulting, all that stuff.
Oh, we adulted so much. Like, I had family Christmas at my house.
What?
We had it catered, so it was easier. We got a lot of barbecue from the barbecue joint in town.
Cool.
Yeah.
For Christmas or
Um,
Thanksgiving?
Christmas.
Oh, because you said we had. I mean, you're going to have it at your house.
No, like my parents and my family came over on Saturday for
So you've done it.
Christmas.
You had an early
I
celebration.
mean, you
Yeah,
did it
I
already.
yeah, did it last
Oh,
Saturday because I'll be out of the state for Christmas. But in an act of defiance to my disease, I walked 10 steps with my walker. I
Awesome.
said, screw you, MS. Took 10 sturdy steps with my beautiful wife pushing a chair behind me in case I need to sit, but I don't want to sit on the ground right now. And then
Awesome.
yesterday, let me get a drink real quick. Talk amongst yourselves.
Congratulations.
Talk amongst
Thank you.
yourselves.
What do we talk about?
That's awesome, John.
Yeah. And I had because I was gone for so long from PT because of the multiple hospital visits, I had a reevaluation, and my PT said, "You have not lost anything from the last time we've seen you. If anything, you seem a little bit more confident to try stuff."
Awesome.
So that felt really good. Like, yeah, I got denied Social Security, but I also did some really cool big things, and well, we all know that I have a power chair, but I don't have a way to transport it. And my big wheelchair is just heavy, so we rented a smaller wheelchair because through my exercise and stuff, I can bust in under that 350 mark. So I don't have to have
Awesome.
like the heavy duty chair. Right? Thank you, Kim. So yeah, we just have a lighter chair, throw it in back, boom, we're down. And Kim, you remember my gripe about the not wanting to build a ramp to make their house accessible? My parents refused to do that. My wife, Melissa, her parents rebuilt their deck and put a ramp on it so their house is accessible to me.
Mhm.
I want them to be my parents.
That's awesome.
Sounds
Do you
like
Yeah.
they
feel like
are.
your parents are still in denial, John?
Complete truth, no, but I feel as if they don't want to
Pretty painful for them to
put a
not.
yeah to
Yeah,
not.
so
They
like
just
you
don't
can't
want to.
come to our house. They're not willing to make
Yeah.
changes to get you there.
Oh,
It's
and
pretty painful.
I've guilted her. My mom specifically. My dad's like, yeah, whatever. Um, I think
Sorry
they
about
just don't
that,
want to have
John.
a ramp on the front of their house.
Like pride.
But I
Yeah.
think there's cool things they could do that you don't need a ramp. Like when I go to my reflexologist, she has it designed where there is no, it does a natural ramp to the
I mean,
house.
a
It's just
path is a path.
beautifully, yeah, it's a path. I'll have to show, I took photos a while. I'll have to send you the
No,
photos,
I've
John.
seen. Yeah, I've seen some of
Yeah,
those.
there's some
Just
cool things that you don't need like the metal ramp that's an afterthought.
hey, you are preaching the choir.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
still incredibly
Yeah.
painful when your family's like, no. Essentially,
It's
it feels like I'm not worth it
yeah,
to come to see you. That's really tough. That would be
and
super hard.
the best part, they're redoing the koi pond in the backyard to have higher walls so they can sit on them, so the backyard can be more accessible.
For them.
Yeah.
So
Like there's
that's
no way to get
exactly
to the
what
back.
I was going to ask John is does their not wanting to put a ramp on the front of their house say more about them than it says about you?
Oh no, absolutely. It says a lot about them.
So, so you've
And
got some kick-ass in-laws and some parents that need a little
yeah,
bit of.
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
think it speaks volumes about your in-laws. I
Yeah.
mean, how amazing is that? I think like I don't know. I think I would just totally be blown over. Like my in-laws are like, "Oh yeah," and then we're gonna rip this apart and we're gonna make this so you
Yeah.
can make it. Because that's what it's like.
Well,
Hey,
Why do
even
you love me
like
so
John,
much?
you said like you wish they were your parents, but they are your
yeah,
parents.
They're
Like
your
thank
parents.
God
they
you
are.
married Melissa and they are your parents and they are sounding like awesome parents.
Now, they're going to tear up the deck anyways, right? It needed to
Yeah.
be done anyway, so we just thought we'd put a ramp on too. Yeah,
Yeah, they
right.
sped it up.
You guys are terrible liars.
They sped up
Yeah,
the
yeah,
remodel for you, so you
Yeah.
could go and visit them and make it like not a non-issue. Versus like, oh
yeah.
yeah, just come over, no big deal.
And they even they
And
even
you do
brought.
know some people had an elevator lift installed instead of a ramp because the ramp takes up a lot of space and it's harder to push and it's harder to walk. Even if you brag about your 10 steps, I get on my elevator and I'm up.
Yep. Now it's working, Karen. It's all good.
You're like everybody who's like, is it all done? Is it all good? It's like, there's still
Pretty good.
issues, but
It's pretty good
I
now.
just needed to take a mental health break from the drama of being scammed, and it just like over and the social worker asked me in the MS Society, and everybody's like, is it all done? It's like,
Sorry.
but it works. So that's something to consider
Trigger
too. It's
question.
not permanent, John. You know, if there's a place to put it, and the MS Society covered the cost of it, and
Unallowable for my parents. Unallowable.
too ugly.
Well, they're
Yeah,
kind of in like a like I don't want to say I don't have the right words, John, but like kind of like a ritzy upscale kind of place where it
they
may
they live close to the country club. You know, maybe their HOA doesn't allow ramps, but
a
there are
little on the
ramps
bougie
out
side.
everything. Yeah, yeah.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Andrea. So glad to see
Go
you in
ahead
art.
and introduce yourself, Andrea, since we we got Yamila is brand new tonight, so go ahead and introduce yourself, Andrea, and let us know if you need time tonight. You are on mute, girl.
You're not on mute, but we can't hear you.
Yeah.
You look gorgeous.
Yeah, super cute tonight, girl.
We can't
Hey, I got a haircut.
maybe go out and in. Speak it. Try again. Speak up now. No.
Turn the volume up.
I had trouble with the app. I'm still having trouble with my devices.
Just yell really loudly, and we might be able to hear you. Just get on it.
Well,
My
you
lip
can
reading still sucks. Sorry.
you can call in. We'll put.
Now
I
just
don't
try
know if you
going
can
out
see.
and come back.
Yeah, try going out and come back, and then we can put the telephone number in for you.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? Is what Rick is coming to.
That's what anyone in IT will tell you to do.
Okay,
Bye.
she'll be right back. I got that part.
Mm-hmm.
While we're waiting for her to come back, Yamila, did you have any questions that we've been talking or comments or anything? Jump right in.
I mean, no, I think for me, I'm just trying to navigate because it is frustrating, just being diagnosed in 2021. And I work a lot, so I've not, since I was diagnosed, sat down to like digest my diagnosis. And I think it was just really frustrating for me because I didn't really get information. I literally, the day I walked in, the only reason I was diagnosed was because I lost my vision on my left eye. And when I was diagnosed, the neurologist that diagnosed me just went straight into talking about medication, and he brought a representative for a medication to try to give me that medication, but I didn't get any like, this is what MS, this is what type of MS you have, this is kind of, pros and cons. He just like sent me a link, and he was like, oh, you can go ahead and go figure out kind of
What
what it
drug you want to take, right? I mean, it's the only disease where they go, what
Wow.
drug do you want to take? And it's not a drug, by the way. It's a disease modifying therapy. It's a what?
yeah.
Exactly. I had the same experience.
Yeah. I think when I did my research, that's when I figured out, okay, it's not like it just helps to, slow down the progression of the MS. But
Yeah.
as of now, I haven't been on medication since March. March was my first Ocrevus infusion. And then June was supposed to be my second dosage, which was going to be the full dosage. But then when I called the doctor, they told me, well, we don't take your insurance anymore.
Oh,
So then, well, the location that was giving me the medication, they said, we don't take your insurance anymore. So I called my doctor. Then my doctor said, well, you need to talk to your neurologist. Then they said, oh, just kidding, your neurologist retired. So here's a new neurologist. And then that neurologist said,
Oh,
we can't see till the end of February of next year. So I was like, oh,
what?
I love that. I'll see you
where
guys
are
in
Wow,
May.
you? Where are you
that
But
sounds
located?
frustrating.
It's where are you
I
located?
I live in Hesperia, California, so I'm in the high desert, like San Bernardino area. So honestly, getting medical care here is kind of difficult. Um, and honestly, like I'd have to drive to like LA area, like Rancho, like
How
I
far
have
away is that for you?
it's I'd have to drive like maybe like an hour and a half. But I think it's just like frustrating because it's still like someone tells you something, then they send you somewhere else, and then that person tells you, just kidding, you have to go to this person. You go to
Absolutely.
that, and that person says, no, you have to go to this person. So it's just
Welcome to navigating the healthcare system.
I
It's
call it a conveyor
ridiculous.
belt. I mean, I've gotten much better at just like it's a conveyor belt. Don't stick me on the conveyor belt anymore. And I really come to the conclusion that anybody who's defending the Medicare, because I had a talk with a social worker last week, and then she said, "Well, you were inappropriate," and it's like, I'm not a freaking employee. I'm a patient. I'm overwhelmed. There's nothing inappropriate, and there's nothing inappropriate about being angry with the healthcare system that's dysfunctional. And if you're stuck in that quagmire because you don't have time, but you're defending it, and you're expecting me to be happy about it, feel good about it. No, no, no. Like,
Amen,
Thank you.
Karen. Amen.
yes.
We
Yeah.
can hear you, Andrea.
we can hear you.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay!
That's been having a terrible time. I could not, well, I don't know. I think it might be my laptop. I can't get on my laptop. I had to download the web app and I'm on my phone and yeah, it's just been
You're on
a
your phone right now?
yes.
Oh,
We
so
would
you
never
can't even
know.
really see us, hey?
Well, thanks for getting dressed up for us tonight, Andrea.
In the
So,
MS comments. And Rick, I have had the same thing. I have a new tablet. I installed it. It says it's here. It's crashing. It's not working.
So, as I've said to you guys, we are not the people to complain to. If it's bothering you, you have to call GoToMeeting
yeah.
and go to
I
their
just wanted
support.
to join. I just wanted to talk to you guys. I didn't want to
No,
spend
no,
3 hours on.
no, I know,
Mhm.
but if there's an issue afterwards, go to the support number. I'll put it in the chat window because
Well,
it's not.
actually, other than you not being able to hear me, it seems like it's worked perfectly fine on my phone. I can't even get to Google on my laptop, so I don't know what's wrong with my laptop.
Oh, is your laptop pretty old or does it need to
No, it's work, and
download?
yeah, I work on it all day, and it's probably just because. So Yamil, I live kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I drive 3 hours wherever my fingers are, 3 hours to get to my neurologist and my general practitioner. I could go to Virginia. I live on the Outer Banks in North Carolina. I could go to Virginia, which is closer. It's an hour and a half away, but I don't know Virginia very well, and I know the route to Raleigh, so I go that way. But everybody, my name is Andrea. You know now where I live. I was
Middle
diagnosed
of
with
nowhere.
What state? You didn't say what state you lived.
North Carolina,
There we go.
um, relapsing, remitting in 2011, 12, somewhere in there. It took a while. Um, um, yeah, I think that's my introduction.
Did you need
Are
to
you on
Um,
remain?
medication?
oh yeah, Ocrevus. I've had basically my first round of Ocrevus. My second round will come up in February. So I switched over to Ocrevus. Yeah.
Did you need time tonight, Andrea?
Not really, but living out in the middle of nowhere, but still a touristy area. They've started like 2 years ago, started doing something really fun. The restaurants totally changed their name. They go Christmas. The first bar was and restaurant was Jingle 12, and well, they're called Lucky 12 most of the year, and then the month of December they're Jingle 12. So we went to Jingle 12 for dinner tonight and had very Christmassy things. So that's
Cool.
one.
That's great.
And no, I don't need any time. I just told you everything I needed to tell you.
That
Excellent.
sounds so fun, Andrea.
It was. It was super fun. Yeah.
Yeah. What
I'm
kind
in
of
a
a
good
restaurant is it?
I'm in a good mood now.
Good.
What kind of a
How many
restaurant is
drinks
it,
did you
like
have?
normally?
They had this peppermint drink. So I had one drink. Well, I had a beer and then I had a peppermint uh something or another. It was really Christmassy and it had, instead of like a salt around the rim of the glass, it had crushed up candy cane.
Oh,
It was
yummy.
it was like a dessert. It was very, very sweet and very, very yummy.
Mm.
Nice.
Well, you're looking like you had a very yummy dinner. I have
Yeah,
to say, we
totally.
all noticed that, so that's
There's
good.
nothing like bacon wrapped scallops to make a girl
Mm.
happy.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Now, I just want to come back to your meal for a second.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out where the centers of excellence are for MS care. Um, and the one that comes up, but it's a real schlep for you, so I'm loath to say it. But Cedars does have a an MS center. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
Um, Cedar, so I'll put the link for this in the chat window. Um,
Thanks, Rick.
so
what
Cedars,
kind of insurance do you have?
I have Blue Shield, HMO, so I
Mm.
get insurance through my through the company that
so yeah, and
AnCan.
you might, if you don't have to go that often and you want to be sure that you're getting quality. Um, I mean, Cedars is a great hospital. But you got to go all the way to the design center to get there, which is a pain in the bloody butt from where you are. I know because I used to live in LA, so I know, I know. I was also looking, and there are, and you probably know this. There are certain clinics, local clinics, but they're local doctors in the high desert.
Well,
Um,
and I think what Rick is getting at is that there are general neurologists that treat all sorts of neurological conditions. And so many of us on this group tonight see neurologists that focus just on multiple sclerosis.
Yes.
And I don't know if the doctors that you've seen
No.
are like that, but MS clinics get the most current information. And I think all of us who do see doctors at MS clinics really recommend them.
Yeah, I've been trying to
Thank
find
you, Miss Jen.
That is
yeah,
Hi.
such a
thank you,
good
Dr.
summary.
Carmen.
Such a good summary.
What were you saying,
Emil,
Emil?
Sorry.
I was gonna
I
say.
I
Oh,
have
go
been
ahead.
trying to find something like that. It's just it gets really hard because like when at least for me when I ask my like medical providers and stuff, they kind of just like throw me into different directions. And then those same people throw me in a different direction, and I'm kind of like, I just want a straight answer. Just give me the answer so I can go do it myself if you can't do
So
it yourself.
I
who
have a cool.
diagnosed you? Who diagnosed you?
Um, some doctor up here in Apple Valley. His name is um
Well, I mean, I don't even know the name, but I mean,
But he
just
retired,
a
right?
regular neurologist. So he's not
He,
willing
he
to
was a
follow.
regular neurologist.
Oh, then he retired or whatever.
So my first one, both of them were regular neurologists. So the first one that diagnosed me, I just removed services with him because I didn't feel comfortable that he brought like a specific representative and told me that like this medication was the only medication. And then he also didn't give me information about like what my MS diagnosis was, and I was just kind of like, well, that feels uncomfortable. So
Wait,
then,
so you've already fired a neurologist?
yeah.
You're in the club.
Right.
She's already
I'm on the
fired.
third.
We're on the right
Chief,
place
you
then.
belong here. I fired my first one too.
Ah,
One of us. One of us. Yeah,
It's
you
weird
have to fire a neurologist once in a while.
trying to make me take something that you haven't
Do you
yet.
know what drug
Yeah.
they were
You didn't
hawking
even.
that they were hardcore about? Do you remember? Probably not.
No, it was he just showed me a picture. It was like a weekly injection that I had to do myself.
It was
Uh,
Think
probably Q-Sympta.
Symptom.
yeah, that's what it was.
So he
And
was
Yeah,
hawking
that's
think
Kesimpta hard.
probably not
Okay.
the only one.
the
And
second
think
had gave me the same medication except he gave me more information, and I tried it for like 3 months and it just made me feel really depressed and my anxiety was like so high up, so I just stopped it, and then they switched me to Ocrevus.
I have a
so.
And,
Like
and
how
what
question for
they're
you,
doing is
Yamila.
they're giving you the high efficacy drugs. Back in
Yep.
the day when some of us were diagnosed, we got like squirt guns when we needed like a water cannon. So at least, I know that the drugs that they're trying sound like they're much more potent. And hopefully if you could see a doctor, then you could find so that you can treat your disease as
Yeah.
much as
I think the first
possible.
one was just they didn't educate me how to do it. I had to Google and YouTube it to prescribe it myself. Which
oh,
I think,
see, they're empowering you.
yeah,
That's the new BS. But it's been like that. They're empowering you. We want you to be empowered. I have a brain disease. I can't concentrate. I have cognitive issues. But you should be empowered.
yeah,
So,
it was hard. So
Emil, um, it looks like you're on the phone, so I don't know if you can see the
the
chat.
chat, yes.
Um,
Okay.
but these meetings are recorded. Hopefully that was explained to you, and we post them via YouTube. And we put the chat in there. We put the whole chat in there. But I just found something else which might be interesting for you called Act for MS, which is an MS nonprofit in the high desert based in Palm Desert.
Oh, that
So
sounds
that
possible. Yeah.
might be, and it sounds like and I just put the link in the chat window. I'm going to put another link in the chat window for you for them too. I'll put their link because this was an article I found, and here's their link. I'll put it right there, and there's a lady to call. And if you've got an MS nonprofit in your neighborhood, which from where I don't know, where exactly do you live?
I live in Hesperia, but from Palm Desert, I'm maybe like an hour, if that.
So, but they're going to know where the good MS
Oh,
facilities are.
hold on.
Oh,
She
we
just
lost her.
accidentally left.
Okay, so she'll
I'm
be back.
I'm just really glad it wasn't like a picture of me that the the person at her doctor's office was like, "Oh, hey, you should try this medicine." And then, like the ads that I'm in, that
I
would have.
wonder, does that John look familiar?
Does that guy look familiar?
Oh, now she's
I'm looking
coming
it up
back.
Yeah,
myself.
give her a
She's
second.
coming. She's coming back.
She
Everyone
can be
be cool.
audio before
Be cool.
Everybody be cool.
you
Yeah.
start
Everybody be
launching,
cool.
into your ox here.
I'm looking at the website like right away. I'm looking at this
Oh,
Okay,
now
website.
go ahead and
I just want to say we weren't talking about you. Don't worry, we weren't talking about you.
No, we didn't say
No,
anything. Nothing at
we didn't
all.
say anything about you. We did. Now, now you probably lost the chat, but this act forms I can tell you what it is. It's ACT Forms, ACTFORMS, actforms.org, and
Okay.
it's a it's a nonprofit specifically for MS in the high desert, which includes you in Asperia,
Okay, awesome. Thank you so
And
much.
right?
I'm looking at the website. I've never seen anything since I've been diagnosed with MS. It says about us. Imagine having no control over your muscles. Imagine your hands and feeling as if they're on fire all the time. These are just a couple of symptoms of multiple sclerosis. Imagine opening a website and reading something like that, right, Yamila?
Yes.
So, I think this will be a good resource for you, and then they can tell you which doctors they like that are in Coachella or the high desert or where. I mean, I can't exactly picture where Asperia is. I know it's up there somewhere.
Yes.
Um, but it's gonna be it'd be closer than Cedars, because it's gonna take you a good hour and a half with no traffic to get to Cedars.
Yes.
Um, but these are just a few thoughts, and we'll keep helping you in this way. But give us be sure either go on our website ancan.org and go to contact us and then sign in your name there, and then you'll get a reminder before each meeting
Okay,
because we
cool.
meet twice a month, and you'll get it. And if you sign up for the webinars, you'll get a note when the webinars are. And
Mhm.
I actually we have a fantastic, Miss Karen will explain it, will tell you about it, but we have a wonderful art class, which
It meets in 2 days.
it, it meets in 2 days.
Yeah,
And
Hannah has
did
requested
anybody
it.
realize that our Thanksgiving greeting on social media from AnCan featured Miss Karen's. Look, she's doing a turkey imitation as well. Look, look,
Yeah,
look,
it's
look.
my turkey. My
That
friend
was
said
Miss
it was a
Karen's
swan.
turkey.
She said it was a
Uh,
swan. Now, I never made art before in my life, ever,
Yeah.
ever, ever. I mean, not visual art. And I have a paralyzed right hand, and I use my left hand, and I do everything on the tablet. I'm looking. Oh, I sent this out, Ricky. I sent it out to actually my own personal people, and
yes,
so now I'm going to send it out to more because everybody's so impressed.
Did you
But
show it and I missed it?
yes. See that turkey?
it's
Oh,
my turkey
over a
named
little bit.
Cleone. I
Fun.
I wasn't going to
Oh
name a
yeah.
turkey. Hannah had a turkey she named Charlie, and so this is Cleone. And I said I'm not going to name my turkey. And then it was Cleone. And then I wrote to Hannah and I said, Cleone is very interested in Charlie. Don't worry. I don't think she's afraid of cats and dogs, so there's no problem for a long-term relationship. And then she's like, "Oh my God, Cleone is gorgeous." And so it's also I was puzzled because Cleone is definitely a girly girl. She's definitely a femmy girl. And Charlie, and she goes, "Did I tell you that Charlie was a girl?" And I said, "Oh, that explains it." I was a little puzzled, like, why is Cleone so much femmier than Charlie? And then I said, and it's okay because Cleone and Karen are both equal opportunity lovers. I get it now. So it's
So
not just the art; it like just goes into this other layer
so
of history.
I just want to say that Hannah is our art teacher, and she lives with MS. She's
He's in
33,
Texas.
34 in
She's
Texas.
more
She
than
lives
half
with
my
MS,
age.
and she's actually a spokesperson for Ocrepus.
Oh,
And she's a moderator on here, but not always.
She said
Um,
she was going to come today, but
oh, she said she was going to come. Kim, I'll take care of it in a sec.
And if
Um,
you haven't figured it out, she's amazing. And I'm like, Karen, can't even draw a stick figure, but I come out with art after her classes.
me too.
Amazing.
This was from AnCan, right? I can't believe I do this. It's
yeah,
crazy. It's crazy.
wow.
yeah,
That was the
and
veterans class, I think.
I'll put the link in there for you in a second to register for if you haven't registered yet for the class in a couple of days. We are actually planning something else really interesting um, for the new
All expenses
year.
paid trips to hang out. All
No,
expenses paid for all of us to come and no.
no, no, but you're gonna love this one, John.
All right, I'm
We
in.
are planning a virtual drum circle.
Ah,
Mm,
Oh,
whoa.
that's
And if it's successful, we will turn it into a monthly event like we've done with the art class. But there's been a lot of people who feel from a mental health programming that a drum circle could be very beneficial. A lot of people like drum circles, and there's enough interest that we've got to see if we can make it work virtually. There are some challenges to doing it virtually, but we've got a team of people working on it right now, including Alexa. And so
Who's
watch
going to
this
lead it,
space.
Rick?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Who's going to lead? Like what kind of
We,
One of the
well,
gentlemen I worked with from a previous webinar, the musician.
yes, well, Jimmy's involved in the team, but there's actually somebody that we know of who leads drum circles and actually we think has led virtual drum circles. So we're hoping to find somebody who's had
awesome.
experience.
Mhm.
But watch this. Hopefully by February we might be able to do it February, and if it works, we'll do it every month. Because a lot
Sign
of
sign
people,
me up.
I knew it would be. I knew you'd
Sign me up.
like that
Sign me up in blood.
in blood.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Now, what instrument are you going to use, or are you going to turn a pan upside down?
you can take a
um
can. You can do a Home Depot bucket.
right. So I do have bongos.
Ah,
I do have a thumb piano. I mean, I've got
ah,
guitars, basses. I'm a musician in my off time.
oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well, you're definitely
Ah,
in, John.
wait a minute. You're a musician. We need to sign you up for Solo Arts Heal. I'll interview John for Solo Arts Heal. What do you think, Karen? It's a
You're
sore
asking
point.
me.
It's a
You're
sore
asking me.
point. Yes,
Really,
it's a
Rick,
sore point.
I should have volunteered my Medicare piece that was rejected by your solo arts heal person. I have a great piece I wrote about Medicare, and it literally came from This Is Not a Bill, and it's hilarious. I mean, sometimes I read it just to the people on at Kaiser, and everything about it is completely true, other than um, please note that our your call is important to us. Our menu options have changed, and the only thing that did not come from that, it just said, your call is important to us. Just know it's not a priority. That was the only thing I added out of my own, and it's really funny. And your guy was like, I don't understand how that could be funny. It's like, really, you don't
I
understand how
had a
it's
couple
You
more
funny.
wrote an
questions
article? Is
for
that what it is?
No, it's fun.
I wrote a piece about. I didn't do it. I got
Are you
that
gonna
This Is
talk
Not a
about it?
Bill, and I spent
Hold on a sec,
like
Karen.
7 hours going through all the papers from Medicare.
He needs that peppermint drink I had at dinner tonight.
I had a
You got-
couple more questions for you, Amelia. Since a lot of insurance changes next month because it's a new year, do you have options for where you work for insurance, or is it all HMOs?
it's all HMOs. We're a smaller company, so
Mm-hmm.
it's right now with California changing laws and everything,
Okay.
it's
I didn't
unfortunate.
know if there was something that you needed to change or work with your insurance to make sure the person that you wanted to see as a neurologist was covered.
I think I might just have to like some hoops in terms of like finding a different medical provider. It's just kind of hard. I guess the way my insurance is broken down, it's like different medical groups. And then if I'm with one medical group, I can only work with people that are a part of that medical group. And then I'd have to switch to a different medical. I don't know. It's like too much
Yeah,
switching.
that's what an HMO is. So
Yeah.
so a
So,
piece, not PC, is it a piece, guys, help me. PPO, thank you.
yeah.
PPO, you pretty much can go wherever it's
Any,
covered,
yeah.
and then HMOs, they kind of have like gatekeepers, and they get real weird to cut down costs.
Yeah.
So if you're struggling with an HMO, if you had an option to get the PPO, it's going to cost more, but might have less headache in the long run if you can actually access providers that you want to see.
Yeah, I'll probably touch base with my HR department to see if that's something that I can do.
Yeah, just because this is like the time of year where if you need to change your insurance, this is like game time before they lock you in. So I just wanted to reach out to you to make sure that if you needed to get a hold of people and go, okay, this is what I want to see. Which insurance plan can I get so I can see this person? Sometimes you have to work backwards.
Yeah.
But
So,
this resource that Rick just referred, I mean, I'm always complaining about the resources are bad, and I just opened that thing up, and I have a foster daughter in Moreno Valley, so I was like, I didn't know where Coachella Valley is, but it's close enough that somebody there will be able to at least talk to you. I think just from the way the website looks. I mean, you never know, but it looks more hopeful than, well, I'm not sure. You know, like, it sounds like it was really somebody who's an advocate, and somebody will know somebody about that. But that also that Ocrevus, that they're so into pushing it that you can often get it anyway for free. They'll cover the cost.
Yeah.
Did
you,
they sign you up for a patient assistance program when you started Ocrevus so you're not stuck with the full bill?
Yes, I still pay some of it just because it was a lot of back and forth to get them to cover like the rest of it. So I ended up paying out of pocket because every time I would get the bill, it'd have to be sent to someone, so the one get the thing and then send it to someone so they could activate the card. So I was just paying the other part of it because I was like, this is too much and they're taking too long.
Well,
So
hopefully you can find someone to get you prescribed and back on it, hey?
Yeah. So do you want to? So currently, what are you feeling, Yamila? Are you wanting to get back on Ocrevus ASAP? Like, what are your current feelings and thoughts?
I did. I really was trying, and I think I was like on a whole month back and forth with my medical provider. Um, but I'm hoping that the neurologist that I see can approve me to do the Ocrevus, so the referral can be sent out so they can start processing it again. Because it was really helpful. I felt a lot better on it. I did get sick a lot though, so like for the first, like I was like sick every week. But I mean, I guess that's kind of part of the side effects stuff. Yeah.
'Cause I would potentially work backwards, where you contact Ocrevus Genentech and go, "Hey, I can't get a doctor. Help me figure this out." And work backwards, see what they say, throw it back at them.
Yeah,
They want you on this
good
drug,
idea.
have them help you figure it out.
That's
Is
a good idea.
is
Yeah,
anybody on Ocrevus in the group
yeah,
Any of the people in the group tonight? We have. Oh yes. So Carmen is,
yeah.
Kim is. That's it. So we have
Andrea's.
two, but we do have a
We
lot
have
of
no, we have
people on.
Andrea. Andrea's on Ocrevus as
Oh,
well.
Andrea is too. Sorry,
Yep.
Andrea, I missed you. Yeah. So we got three people.
Okay,
And
cool.
Three
John,
people.
what are you on an ad for? What drug?
Zeposia.
Oh, okay.
We are the direct competitor to Kesimptra.
Okay.
And they want you on their drug. They will do everything they can to help you. I have a zero copay, even though my insurance, I'm supposed to pay 20% of it. They want you on that drug. It's to their advantage to help you.
Yeah, I guess I should really push it. I think I just got kind of like frustrated with all the back and forth that
Easy to do, but
I really
but
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
if
honestly I
you
did.
don't push it, no, literally nobody else will.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think you're experiencing, Yamil, in the healthcare, especially since COVID. It's such a stress system to begin with. It's very easy to fall through the cracks. So you have to be very proactive and be a massive
Hmm.
self advocate and speak up for yourself and be like, I am very demanding when I go to the doctor's office. I'm not like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, sounds good. Like I am very like, this is what I want, this is what I need, or what do
Yeah.
you think about
If you
this? And you
know, if
work
you
together. I just
know.
don't be like sit meekly in the corner, like. But that's just me, my personality, and I also have, I worked in the medical field, so I'm very, open and honest. But it's very easy to get run over, especially when they're like running behind and they're short staffed. You're like, oh, I don't want. I have friends of mine like, oh, I don't want to bother them. I'm like, no, you are paying them. You're not bothering them. This is your life.
Yeah.
So
Um.
please don't feel free to speak up and say, this is what I need. How can you help me? Or where do I go from here? And just sometimes you just
Or
can't take no.
not even how can you help me, but like just more forceful. Like, of course, like Kim said, that's my personality. But I go into doctor's appointments with like lists of like,
Yeah.
hey, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. I've heard about this. Let's try that. But it's really intimidating because they know more than you, and they're the one that went to school for so long, and you're just a person off the road. Like, no,
And you have
it's up to you.
anxiety. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
You just
another
have to
one.
be, you really have to be your own advocate because no one's really looking out for you except for you. And we're all
And us.
obviously pro medication. Yes, John, good point. Yes, absolutely. But we're
We're
all
here for
pro medication too because we know that stopping the damage or preventing the damage from happening will mean that you won't be needing to consider a wheelchair and moving out of your house in 10 years or something like that. Like that's
Yeah.
the goal, right? So it's not about making you feel guilty. We just want to prevent you from being hurt any further by this damn disease.
Yeah. I agree. I know because
So,
I've been feeling like my pains, like my lower back pains and getting up off my bed has been harder. And like my migraines have gotten way worse in the last few months. So
Get
yeah, I
help for
do
that.
need, yeah.
And ask for it. Like, I'll give you an example. I asked for something to help with because my muscles in my body get really tight, and he put me on a very low dose of pizanidine, and then come back in 6 months. Well, after a couple of months, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to email them. If you have a my chart, or I don't know, whatever, the online portals or whatever, you are not bothering them. I mean, whether you are or not, it doesn't matter. It's your health,
Yeah.
right? And like Kim said, you're
No.
paying them.
Yes.
So Frank, did you want to say something or?
no,
Oh, okay. A couple of quick things. Who did we just lose? Somebody just dropped off. I don't know who it was.
I think
John.
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 that was
Yeah.
John.
It
Um,
might be also getting too late for him because he's East Coast.
so, couple of things. First of all, you can go to our shop and you can buy a t-shirt or a sweatshirt which says across the bottom, be your own best advocate. And then you wear that to to the appointment. So they're very attractive. I think Miss Kim has one, if I'm not mistaken, and they're great. Um, Secondly, um, I wanted to I put the link for the art class in the chat. It's not on this channel, so if you need to register, and you will get you'll get the Zoom link sent out to you, and so that's the second thing. And you'll see the poster, and I think they're drawing fuzzy animals on Thursday night, but I'm not exactly sure. But the the third thing I want to say, and frankly, this is because I want to be sure this is on the recording, because we get a lot of people that listen to the recording more than attend, is that, as Karen knows, once a year we do a fundraiser. And we're able to do that because we do get a bunch of money from the pharmaceutical companies, although right now nothing from any of the MS companies, but we're trying to change that. and um, and we don't want to bombard you asking for money all the time, which is what a lot of the health nonprofits do. But once a year we do ask, and it is the end of the year, and it's now. And hopefully, those of you who are signed up did see our fundraiser on Thursday, and we just ask you to consider it and don't bin it. And whatever you feel you can contribute to help us maintain this, we are basically all volunteers. We have 4 paid people, including Miss Alexa, contract, not full time, and Hannah. But by and large, we raise the expenses, and we just it would be it if you can show your appreciation, we'd appreciate it. In however small, however large, we're very, very grateful. We love doing this. I personally especially love doing this MS because I love the people on it, and it's always such a great meeting. So just saying. And for those people who watch and don't attend, you can go to our website. If you're not on our mailing list, and you can donate through the website, hopefully it'll be working just fine. We've been having horrible website problems the last few days, but that's it. That's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you,
Nicely
Rick.
said, Rick.
So, Yamil, one other thing that I learned kind of early on upon joining this group, they mentioned Aaron Boster to me. And if you go to YouTube, and he's a neurologist, an MS specialist, he's in Ohio, but he'll help educate you so that when you do go in to talk to your neurologist, you kind of know a little bit more than just walking in cold. And not that you're going to become a neurologist. I don't mean that. But to me, information is power. And I see Kim just put him in the chat, so you'll see his name in the chat. And he has helped me in the last couple of years since I joined this in really getting a much better grasp on multiple sclerosis. I've had it for like over 10 years, or at least diagnosed for over 10 years. But I still learn so much from him.
Thank
That's
you
it.
so much.
Our next meeting is in 2 weeks, the day after Christmas. So if you're having a Christmas hangover the next day, come see us on our normal time. What did you want to say, Frank?
Well, I was going to say that Karen had something she wanted to say.
Right. I was just throwing it out there
He's been
before I
saying it
forgot.
for, you know, the whole time.
Posterity.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I wish John was here because I did want more input about wheelchairs. But yeah, this whole thing of getting a lift, it's not a vanity project. Like I got a new kitchen remodel. I put in I've been trying since July, since a year and a half, but actively since July, to get a way to get in and out of my house, accessibility. Am I going to be able to stay here? Besides the fact that there's a hill, and I've been just feeling like I need help. I need help. And there was like no good social worker. Then I found one. Well, then it turns out she's caused more problems, the conveyor belt business. Got in touch with my doctor and said, oh, I want to refer her to case manager. And then I go to my doctor for body work, and we only have 20 minutes, and we have to spend it problem solving the social worker. And I realized it caused a lot of, because my doctor was probably wondering, was Karen complaining about me, that she wasn't getting care? It's just this constant conveyor belt. And I fell. And so, yeah, I got scammed by this company who just was trying to dump me a crappy lift. And it went on for months, and getting my contractor to come. He called me today. He's going to come tomorrow. I'll probably put in the handrails. I need handrails in my front steps. I fell. I scratched my glasses. I hurt myself. And every time you fall, it's just I need help. I need help. And it occurred to me, there is nothing in my chart that talks about my functionality. I don't know if anyone else has that. So this social worker doesn't know. First of all, the doctors don't know what MS. Even my primary, who sees me once a month, doesn't know what MS. Well, why don't you? Yeah, why don't I? Whatever it is. Why don't you just? Yeah, why don't I? And like you're the only people who understand what's cognitive issue, the anxiety, the fear, the knowing that you're losing function and you don't have and being fucking around for 5 months with this stupid business of this lift that I was who could think somebody a business would do something like this with it says 58 years family business that it just I can't do other things. I couldn't even like pay my bills. I need to finish this project so I can go to the next one. And then, anyway, also I was looking when I fell, I wanted to find out about a quad cane. Well, that took me on the conveyor belt again with the neurology nurse, and she's great. And then she had a consult with the neurologist and the physiatrist. And why don't you try this? And why don't you go to the physical therapist? And thank goodness she listens to me. And I was a nurse and I was a social worker in the past. And she listens to me. And I said, but then that's just put me back on the conveyor belt. Well, that's just this. So there were, people are quitting because they're sick of healthcare. The doctors are quitting. The PTs are quitting. The OTs are quitting. So I talked to the high mobility person who called me in January, and I thought maybe she was a secretary. And the neurology nurse could look at all my records. She goes, no, you talked to her in January. So I called her and I left her a long message, and she called me back. And she got me. She listened to my personality. She listened to my stuff. She looked at my chart. She said, listen, I want to come out to your house. I want to do a home visit. It's provisional. I didn't get a referral from your doctor, but she could look at my chart and see, I need something. I'm going to cry because she was so amazing and she kicked my butt. She came in the next day she comes there and it's raining and she goes, can you get in the back because, Todd is here with a wheelchair. With a what? With a wheelchair? I don't yet need a wheelchair. Do I need a wheelchair? I don't need a wheelchair. And she said, well, for the future, when you need it. She was so clever with me. She was here an hour and 15 minutes. I cannot believe how much. So they got me in the wheelchair. They moved me around. They, go in this room, that room. Like this room would be a better room for you. You got to move that furniture. And then she said, you need to get rid of that tub. And I already talked to the contractor. I said, I don't want to take out all my tile. Can't you get rid of the tub and do something else? I'd already mentioned to him, and he's coming tomorrow, so I want to push that one. And she's like, and you need a bed rail. Medicare covers that. But she was just so, and I'm crying in this, and I'm yapping, and I'm just like me. And it was like, no one's telling me you're inappropriate or anything. Everything is fucking appropriate. It's appropriate. It's appropriate to be anxious, to be upset. What do you mean, wheelchair? And what about this? And like, no, I can't get through this room. Well, you might have to take this out and that out. Well, what about the bathroom? No, I think we can make the bathroom. You got to get rid of that tub. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I when she left, I made notes. She goes, I got it all in my phone. And they were going to talk about money because she's like doing this tripped up wheelchair. She's like, we're going to have it go up. We're going to have it recline. You're not safe. You need a wheelchair in your house. In your house, you need a wheelchair for your own safety. Okay, you don't need it quite yet. By the time she was going, they already colors. What color do you want? And they didn't tell me the number because it's going to be a lot because it's a tripped out one. And I don't know if it's going to get approved. I don't know how long that takes. And then I was like, this wheelchair feels good. It feels good. I'm not tipping over like this. I've got something I can lean on. I mean, I'm just so shocked and overwhelmed. I haven't had time to process it to go. And then I said, but then what does this mean? Like traveling and how am I going to get anywhere? Well, there's paratransit. And I'm just, after months of just not even being able to get this stupid vertical platform lift installed, and now it's still squeaking. Just like she came in an hour and 15 minutes, boom, boom, boom. I go, well, what about my front steps? See, I can't get the mail. That's where I fell. She said, well, we're going to get you a ramp in there. You're going to be in the chair. You need to be in the chair. You need to not fall. You get somebody who's good, and you already figured it out. You get someone who's good, and and I'm like trying to work things out with the social worker. I'm not. I asked my therapist to be an advocate because I'm going to talk to her at least 2 more times. And I'm not putting up with people who aren't treating me with respect and aren't treating me who they want to be. I don't work there. There's nothing inappropriate about me crying and thinking, it's not about crying about anything. Like, So, but that's a big deal, the thing with the wheelchair. And then I don't know how long it's going to take. And if I don't get it,
Karen,
I'll
wow, this
be
person
disappointed,
that showed
right?
up for you, wow.
Absolutely.
It was about time, though, that you finally had someone that came in and got on your side. Like, awesome. I'm so
So you
happy
need
for you.
help. Yeah, because there's nothing functional in the chart that says I got a paralyzed right hand. I'm dragging my right. I can't barely walk with the
Like, don't they
walker.
even
What
have
am I
like an
going to do?
EDSS score?
Well, I mean, first of all, does anybody know what that is?
Yeah, right.
Right? Does anybody know what
Yeah.
that is? And then I
I
think I
know if you
sort
get
of,
to a 6, it means you're walking with the cane.
well, I mean, I started on, I skipped into the neurologist 5 years ago. I skipped in, and he said, I'm going to figure out what's wrong with you. And I just
Karen,
went
I'm
so
just
hard.
quickly flashing this to you in the middle of
Uh-huh.
this. This is what you're going to see that I talked about in the beginning. This just
Oh, okay.
came
I'm
home
going to
today
watch that.
by surprise. You got to watch the beginning of the show,
I
but
know. That's why
like
I
you're
said,
so bang on with what you're saying right now, it's not even funny. It's
well,
very
that's what
ironic,
I said. You
actually.
don't have to go on. And it's like, can I stay in my house? Will I stay in my house? What will I
Hmm.
do? I mean, it
Hmm.
was also when I got diagnosed because I had symptoms for years. I had symptoms for years, and it's like, well, you're old. I'm 72. I know I look good, but I know I look good. I know I'm funny, so you can't possibly have cognitive problems. I had a friend visit the other day, and she's like, Karen, but you're still so damn competent. I'm like, but I'm falling apart. I'm falling apart, and the fear of not being given the support, and that it doesn't say in my chart that I can't walk, and well, you just have to. I can't do all this. I just can't do it all. I can't make that phone call. I can't do another thing, Yamila, though. I just want to say for you, there's been so many screw ups on my behalf. There's been so many messed up things, and then yet I realize I'm glad I never took Aquavis because it's not likely to help me at my age. And all the things that happened that were screw ups, and they brought me somebody better. They brought me something else. It's just hard to not think like, wait a minute, I am being guided. Someone is looking out for me. You have to
Yeah.
be your own advocate. You have to sometimes just go, ugh. But without this group, like I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, honestly, thank you guys so much. I've been trying to find somewhere to fit into like find some kind of guidance because I don't have anybody in my family that like like really understands what I'm going through. And like you said, Karen, I look pretty like normal. I look like I'm a director for a behavioral health company. Like I'm constantly trained. So like it's exhausting. Like sometimes I think sometimes I have to like explain to my husband like no, you don't understand. Like I tried to have a conversation and I couldn't even think of the words that I know, but they just wouldn't come out, or like I slur my words sometimes, and it's like those are the things that kind of like
Scare
I
you.
yeah. So it's just things like that that is just kind of like I don't think many people like in my surroundings really understand. So
Me
yeah.
neither.
Well, that we're glad that you're here. And as Kim said, our next meeting will be the day after Christmas, Tuesday the 26th. And, it would be awesome if you came back and if
Yes.
you, I know it's kind of a lot that first time, but I'm glad that I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody, glad you got something out of meeting us all.
Hmm.
Thank you guys so much. This was great.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming,
So,
Make sure you sign up for that reminder too,
Yes.
because then you'll get the reminder, and a few other things. We're working on some other things. We are really thinking of maybe putting together a care partners group for MS. We've been thinking about it, and I've got a meeting with somebody on Friday who I think Mike Pettipool. Mike isn't here tonight, but one of our guys lives local to me, and I'm seeing his wife on Friday, and I'm going to put the arm on her to see if she'll take a lead in that. And John's wife, I think, is interested, and because we'd like to put some support together for the care partners because we feel they need it too. So
Totally.
um, it's very important, So yes, we're we're here. We're here to help. We're here to help.
Is
You
there
guys go.
anything that anyone else wanted to say? Jennifer, Sherry?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Oh
Merry
Sherry
yes.
wanted to talk, didn't she?
Um,
Sherry?
I've been really sick all week while my grandson tested positive for RSV. So
Oh,
he's, doesn't cover his mouth, and I had the same symptoms. So I went to the walk-in clinic, and the guy was a nurse practitioner, and he goes, "You don't have RSV." I'm like, "What? Wait, he didn't even test me or anything." And so he tested me for COVID, tested me for the flu, did not have those. He goes, "Adults don't get symptoms with RSV." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure that's what I have because I have the same symptoms my grandson had." Well, guess what? Oh, I had RSV with really bad symptoms. It's kind of nasty.
I'm
Are
sorry.
you feeling any better now, or are you still?
I keep thinking I'm feeling better, and then something else happens. Like the day my stomach, I start having intestinal spasms, really, really bad.
oh.
Just,
Mm.
Sherry, that's really unfortunate. Up here in Canada, they're actually advertising RSV with shingles. No,
yeah.
RSV and
Ah,
uh, anyway, RSV and maybe the like the pneumococcal vaccine for
Mm,
adults, like for seniors, 55 plus.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
oh, that's so sad when you get someone that doesn't know.
I
I'm very
know.
disappointed that it was a nurse practitioner too. I thought when you said it was an MP, that it was going to be good news that they
Oh, no,
Right.
just
no.
took such good care of you and
Yeah,
everything was good now. Oh,
Did,
no. He
Now,
was an arrogant man.
mm,
did you call him out?
I did, but people don't like that. People don't like it if you have medical training. People hate that when you go in and you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. True.
I'm
But it was
is
sorry.
so
that
that you,
true, Miss Kim? Is that true?
It
not if
they
depends
you're an
on the
honest
depends.
person.
practitioner. It depends on the practitioner.
Yeah,
Some people, I
not if you're
mean,
an honest practitioner.
yeah, it depends
Carmen,
on the
check the
person.
chat. Carmen, check the chat.
Sorry, Kim.
Oh, you're fine.
It just depends. It just depends. Unfortunately, the first social worker I had, I mean, she spoiled me, but she said, "Karen, they're not used to such pushback." And I've had from other like nurses, not so much doctors, but a nurse I met with the life care planner, and she said, "Karen, I hear all these horrible stories, and you're articulating them. And what do other people do?" But my social worker, who just transferred to San Francisco, so I can't see her anymore, she said, well, she transferred a couple of years ago, but she said they're just not used to it, that pushback that that you do that. And it doesn't, even my doctor wanted to order me some asthma meds. I used to be an asthma nurse. I'm not going to go on inhaled corticosteroids because then I got to wash my mouth. It's just like another thing to do. I got to manipulate the thing. And, I just let her know if I have a problem, I'll just take prednisone. And after that, I'll get on something. And then she sends me information about a peak flow meter. Well, it's wrong. She doesn't even know it's like we checked it off. We sent it. We checked it off. We sent you a letter. We did this. There's just so much in healthcare that's just check it off, did this, did that. Okay. Done.
I'm sorry, Sherry. Are you feeling any bit better?
Like I get the feeling better, and then if and my fever will come back, and I think, whoa, I thought I was on the mend, and then it starts
Mm,
a little bit again. It's really
mm.
weird virus, nasty one.
Sherry, I think I had RSV last year. I
Ugh.
was sure it was COVID, and I tested, and then I went and got the special test at the hospital, and in the end, the doc said it probably RSV.
Mm.
Probably took me about 6 weeks to shake it.
Oh.
Um, with the cough and feeling fluey and one thing and another.
Mm.
I mean, it
Mm.
definitely wasn't COVID, and
No.
that's what she told me. And to be honest, I was pretty naive because I wasn't RSV wasn't even on my radar last year, although it's been
I know.
around for a long time. But now all of a sudden, everything's RSV, RSV, and I also heard as a senior you can get an RSV vaccine.
Should we
Um,
get it? I mean, I
I
count
don't
on
know
other
enough
people
about
telling me
it.
what to do. Huh?
I don't know enough about it. I got into big trouble at Safeway because they were supposed to give me COVID, flu, and shingles #1 all at the same time, and that caused an uproar and almost caused a riot. So I wasn't going to ask for them to add RSV as well.
Anybody else? Did you get a vaccine for it? Yeah, I was surprised my doctor did. She tested me for COVID. I'm surprised she didn't mention that I should get that.
It just says the CDC recommends adults 60 years of age and older have the option to receive a single dose of RSV vaccine.
Older Americans, the target.
Yes,
Sherry.
older.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, maybe
Because I
when
know
I
some
go
doctors
for
said,
my second shingles, I'll ask them for an RSV at the same time and see if that throws them into such a big tiz. So,
I sure hope you start feeling better soon, Sherry. Like it
yes,
probably is
I
knocking
do
Thank
you out,
too,
you.
eh?
Sharon.
Thank you
Like
yep.
guys.
physically. Are you being safe? Are you okay?
Yeah, just kind of boring, in
Yeah.
my bedroom a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you got help at home?
Um,
Like who takes? Oh, sorry.
My daughter helps me.
Okay, good.
I
yeah,
got my
but
got my dog.
I also want to say if don't panic if it doesn't go away that quickly. I
Oh
mean,
my gosh, yeah, my O2 sat rate was 94. I felt like I
uh,
couldn't breathe. And it's always been like 99, 100. It's really weird. Terrible, terrible virus.
I'm sorry.
Hopefully I'm on the mend. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
hopefully we're hoping for you.
Thank you.
Rest and
And
hydration, that's all I can say. Rest and
Well,
hydration.
that's all I can do.
Wow.
all right, folks. Any last calls? I see Miss Kim is looking tired there, and I feel for her. Meanwhile, Jennifer's like charging along. What have you? How come you're doing great tonight, Miss Jen? What's going on?
I'm here for a reason, so I can just get this and we're good. So
How's
yeah,
Dan? We haven't heard. How's the old man?
he's good. His graduate class ends tomorrow, so he's doing a
Yeah,
crap ton of work right now.
yeah.
And 2 down, 8 more to go. So he's good,
And
thank you.
what's the degree that he gets at the end of
It
the 8 months?
will be a master's in leadership from
Ah,
his alma mater back in Iowa.
ah. But you
Yeah,
always knew he was a master in leadership.
no, he's a champ. Yeah, so
he's getting the
yeah,
paperwork to prove it.
Is he
just
taking is he
yeah.
taking over moderating here soon then? Because he's got
Um,
the degree in it.
right now he's just wait, yeah, he's doing so. Yeah,
Tell him he can do his capstone project or whatever it is using AnCan if
there
he
you go.
wishes.
I will.
If he
I'll
wishes.
tell him that.
Tell him we can figure out a project for him
Sounds good.
for AnCan. We miss him. We
Yes,
all miss him.
I will tell him. I miss him. He works a lot, works in now
Yeah.
graduate school, but
And
yeah,
Dan
Yamil,
who? Right, Dan who? Who are you talking about?
Yamil, you should be aware that Dan also lives with MS.
yes,
Yes, I think Jennifer was
yeah,
saying earlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
I look
Yeah.
forward to meeting him one day when he's finished
Yes.
and not so
Uh,
busy,
I
if
hear
ever.
I'll tell him. That's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just have him pop in and say hello to all of us, and he can go about his business.
That's
Right
right.
now we'll be lucky if I see him like the class. He's got the homework and then work. So, but yeah.
I
So
think it's harder to work full time and go to school part time than to go to school full time and work part time. I think working full
Yeah,
time is so hard, and then doing school on the side is really, really, really tough.
yeah,
yeah, he's
yeah.
working full time. He's taking a graduate class. He's got a
Yeah.
wife that he's my primary caregiver. The man's got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But
That's why we love him.
yes, absolutely. So on that ho ho happy note, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll
Yes.
see you in 2 weeks, and Emilia, it was nice
Okay.
to meet
Bye, everybody.
you.
Take care.
Merry
Bye.
Bye. Good
Christmas.
night.
Bye.
Take care of yourselves.